Basically, we provide services to children facing adversity. We strive to match them with a positive male role model or female role model, as the case may be. And through that, we hope to create strong and enduring, professionally supported relationships that help benefit the child in some way and make a positive, lasting change.
Are these long-term relationships? How old are the children, the boys? Let's talk about boys here for a few minutes. How old are the boys when they enter the program?
They can be as young as 7, they can be as old as 14, and they can stay matched with their big brother until they turn 18. But many of the relationships actually continue beyond the official umbrella of our services and become lifelong friends.
So potentially if a boy enters the program at 7, stays in until he's 18, that's 11 years. That's over half the child's life that they're matched. Would they be matched with the same big brother, or big, we'll just shorten it to big.
Mm-hmm.
Would they be matched with the same big for that entire time?
Yes, ideally they would be matched with the same big.
Wow. I'm just going to throw this out there. That's like adopting a puppy.
Only more fun.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah. And obviously you don't have to let them outside to do their business. And they can tell you what they want and need. Wow. How is Big Brothers Big Sisters different from other organizations that work with kids?
Well, it's a 1-to-1 ratio, so the child is getting truly individual attention and time from an adult that can create that friendship with them. There's not a whole lot of child serving organizations that can provide that type of individual attention. Also, we provide support for our volunteers and the families for the life of the relationship, as long as they're with the organization. So if there are questions or concerns, we have individuals there to assist as needed.
One of the things we're going to talk about is the specific need for volunteers, specifically Big Brothers. Before we get into the criteria that the bigs must meet, and I'm sure there's also criteria for the littles, and we'll talk about that. But my question right now is the lack of men in the program, is it because there's a lack of men looking to volunteer, or that there are just so many kids who need a big brother?
I think it might be a combination of both. 2/3 of the kids on our waiting list are boys. Some of them can wait over a year to be matched with a big brother. So there is absolutely a need for more men to volunteer. I think maybe some men just don't naturally think about this type of volunteer experience. They might be thinking of doing more things with their hand, physical manual labor. But it's really a great way for men to have fun during an experience. It's kind of like you make time for your little brother, but you're also making time to do things that you enjoy as well. So whether it's fishing, or you're into cars, or comic books, or sports, those are all things that we strive to make sure that you have in common with your little brother. So you're making time to make a difference, but you're also having fun while you're doing it.
The criteria to be a little brother, to be a little, or a little sister, what criteria must the kids meet?
They have to demonstrate a need, so that they could benefit from a positive adult role model in their lives. They need to be able to have a relationship with a volunteer, so to be able to connect. They need to be within the scope of our services. It's not a substitute for counseling or things like that.
Okay.
It's more of a preventative program to keep kids on the right path.
Okay.
And since they are facing adversity of some kind, they are at higher risk for delinquency,
Right.
drugs, things like that. So really we strive to just keep them on the right path and help them live up to their potential. Parents also are part of our screening process for the kids. We need to make sure that the parents are definitely able to work with a volunteer and also to support the relationship and monitor child safety as well. They're basically our partners in keeping the kids safe and helping to promote a healthy relationship.
And the criteria for the bigs?
Criteria for the bigs. In our community-based program, they need to be at least 20 years old.
Okay.
They have had to been a resident of Lancaster County for at least 6 months, and they have to be able to commit to the time frame that we ask for in order to establish a positive relationship and actually benefit the child. They need to be matched with the child for a minimum of 1 year, and then during that year, they meet with the child about 2 to 4 times a month, and that is done according to their schedule and the child's schedule and what
Okay.
works for them.
Oh, wow. So it's not a, ooh, let me, spend an hour with you this month and we're going to call it a relationship.
Right. It's very carefully structured. It is an evidence-based program, so we have standards in place that we abide by to make sure that the kids are benefiting from the program.
Okay. Excuse me, that was really nasty. What are some of the qualities and characteristics you're looking for in your adult volunteers?
We're looking for men that are going to be able to positively support our little brothers. They can identify the child's strengths that the child might not even identify themselves and help them build on that. Somebody who is fun but responsible at the same time, somebody who is dependable and committed. We're looking definitely to establish that relationship and keep it long term.
I'm going to turn the mic over to our big brothers now. Ken, as a big brother, how long have you been a big brother and how old is your little?
I have been a big brother since October of 2011, so it's been just over a year, and my little brother is currently 15 years old.
Wow. And may I ask how old you are?
I am 33.
Okay, so there's enough gap there, but not so much that you don't remember what it's like to be 15.
Yeah, true.
Now, what are some of the things that you and your little do together?
I've tried to do some things that I'm interested in, just to kind of spark some of his interest or not, just to see if it'll spark an interest in him. And I try to encourage him to give me ideas as far as what he wants to do. I enjoy going bowling. I've gone ice skating with him. We've gone to the Laser Dome several times. We've just done some outdoor things occasionally. And I know that he's very interested in firefighting. He's a junior member at 2 different fire departments. So he's actually taken me to one of the fire departments to kind of give me a tour and explain all these things about the fire trucks and stuff like that, because that's one of his passions. Mm-hmm. He enjoys bicycling, and we haven't gotten a chance to do that yet, but he wants to just go somewhere and just take a bike ride somewhere. So I encourage him to give me ideas as well, and that's kind of one of the things that I'm trying to work on with him, is making him make executive decisions. Oftentimes he's saying, oh, it's up to you. I'm like, no, this is your decision. For his birthday, for example, I'm like, this is your birthday. Where do you want to go for dinner? And he's like, oh, it's up to you. I'm like, no, it's your birthday. So I've been trying to encourage him to give me ideas too.
Okay. As you've been working with him, spending time with him, obviously you're learning what he likes, what he doesn't like, where he might.
You're listening to WROZ and WROZ HD1, Lancaster, York, Harrisburg.
Playing today's best music and your all-time favorites.
At roseradio.com and 101 The Road.
We have to kind of be careful as far as how much money we're spending on. On one hand, I don't want to spend a whole lot of money either, because I have to be careful with my finances, but also not to give the impression that we can spend money on anything we want to. And I've done sometimes even very simple things, as far as like having him over at my house and having him help make dinner and whatnot. Okay. If we're gonna have a meal together, I'm like, all right, let's help me make dinner, and kind of help teach him how to prepare foods and whatnot, and be careful about too. So it's spending that kind of time together, as well as going out and doing things out in the community.
And that's also, I think, a good lesson in cooking and things that adult males sometimes have to do. Mm-hmm. And do you also find yourself teaching him how to be a guy?
I would hope so.
You know what I mean by that.
Yeah. Like I said, I hope so. I just hope that my influences on him have a positive impact. And from the feedback that I've gotten, that sometimes when we have done something like making something for dinner and whatnot, through the Big Brothers Big Sisters program, I've gotten the feedback that he went home and talked to his mom and was really excited about that. And next time we go grocery shopping, we need to get this and this and this because I want to make this at home. And so,
Wow.
so I hope that it creates a lasting impact in that respect.
Oh, that is so cool. Brian, we're going to turn the mic over to you for a few minutes. You can move the mic up.
I'm fine.
Okay.
Thank
Folks, I
you.
have to explain the dynamic here. Ken and Mike or Ken and Brian are two completely different heights. There's a huge difference between them, and so we sort of have the mic set for one. Brian, you were telling me before the show that you and your little have been together for
Almost 5 years now.
so there's an awful lot that you've gone through with your little, that your little has gone through in your life as
Definitely.
well. So coming at it from a more long-term commitment,
Mhm.
and also the fact that your little is getting close to the bewitching hour.
The
if you will.
cutoff age, yeah.
So, what do you and your little do together?
We love to spend time outdoors as much as we can. Of course, this time of year is a little difficult. The one thing that him and I have recently found, even though we've been matched so long, is we both have a deep passion for food, for different types of food.
Okay.
So one of our things is we love exploring new kinds. He's a little more resistant than I am to trying different ethnicities, if you will, but definitely trying to break him of that and just exploring what's out there. But him and I also, two birds of a feather, we love to people watch.
Okay.
So even if it's just going to the mall and talking about what's going on with him in school and his life, and being able to have a play-by-play commentary, what's happening around us. We're two goofballs when we get together.
Okay.
We literally are brothers when we're right there beside each other. We bicker playfully, and we do everything that you would expect two brothers to do. So.
And one of the things, while you've had your little,
Mm-hmm.
you've also gained two children
Correct.
through all of this.
Correct.
How now does your little have younger siblings?
He does not. He is an only child.
So this, in some ways, may also be good for him to be seeing what it's like
Yep.
to be one of multiples.
Yeah, and it's definitely, a time thing as well. Ken was hitting on it a little bit, but I've experienced, just as my little has, that once I had my own children, the time had to be shared, kind of like if he was one of my children. And, there was some times, of course, right after the births and that it went a little longer between visits. He's met with my son. He's played with my son, who is the older one. Has not met my youngest daughter. She's a newborn yet, but he asks about my family every time we
Okay.
talk, every time we hang out. He knows him by name. My wife and him, pass along greetings to each other.
Mhm.
So it's very much family. And he is definitely a part of our family, whether by blood or not.
I've always said, family. There's the family that you're given, and then there's the family that you choose.
Exactly.
And sometimes, the family that you choose, sometimes they're even closer than I think the family you're given. And in this case, listening to both Ken and Brian talk, there's definitely the family that they've chosen, and their little brothers are truly, family. What is the most satisfying part of being a big brother? Brian, I'll ask you first, and then we'll switch
Sure.
over to Ken and get his answer on this.
For me, because of the longer term, it's been being him grow into a man. I mean, really, when we first met, he was shy. He was very closed. He didn't want to reach out to anyone. Now he's, Mr. Socialite. He's has friends all over the place. In fact, he turns down time meeting with me so he can meet with his friends, which I'm totally grateful for. In fact, he just yesterday asked me if I would want to meet his girlfriend that he's been with for a few months, which, kind of, pulled at my heartstrings a little bit. But just seeing him grow into himself has been the best. I mean, from little teenage boy to him saying, I have to shave now, and now he has his first car that him and I have plans on starting to work on and fix up together. He still doesn't have his driver's license, and we both, his mother and I, have said, there's certain criteria that we want you to meet, but we're in the process of fixing up his car, so when he is ready, it's safe for him to drive. And so, that's just different bonding experiences and just watching him become who he is today.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's nice. Ken, the most satisfying part of being a big for you?
Just having been matched for just over a year, so I'm still seeing changes and still kind of learning the process as well. But just seeing just the little things that has changed. Again, kind of like Brian said, my little was also very shy, and it was very difficult to have him open up a little bit. So he's starting to open up some more. Just having the influence of trying to perform better in school. I know that most kids don't enjoy school. However, I'm trying to say it's not necessarily what you're learning, the topics in school, but the skill sets that you learn through school and whatnot. And I've tried to encourage him with that. And he actually has done pretty decently the past few months or this year. The school year so far. He's told me like, oh, I got an A on this and I got an A on that. So for me, it was exciting to hear him tell me that. And just sometimes like he would share things without me prompting him, because before it was like pulling teeth. I'm like, tell me about this, tell me about that. So just having him open up that way to me, it was really, really great, satisfying for me.
Oh, wow. And I will admit, as a parent of a child who a lot of times keeps his own thoughts, I understand exactly what you're saying. When something comes out, can I tell you this? And all of a sudden, it's not, I like chocolate ice cream. It's something a lot deeper.
Yeah.
What a wonderful feeling that is.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah. And your smile is saying it all right. Cheryl, one of the things as a nonprofit that we can't get around, we talk about with all nonprofits, is the fundraising that goes on and needs to go on. And one of your signature events is coming up, and that's Bowl for Kids' Sake. Can you tell us a little bit about the event and how people can get involved in Bowl for Kids?
It occurs this year, March 8th, 9th, and 10th, and basically we ask people to gather a group of friends or coworkers or families. They're usually teams of 4 to 6 people, and what we ask is that you raise funds. It's a minimum of $65 per person, and then on your designated day, you come and it's like a big fun party. So you raise the funds, which goes to a great cause. It helps us sustain our programs and be able to provide services, but then you go and you get to play free games of bowling, free shoe rental, we have pizza, we have snacks, we have door prizes. Brian is actually going to be one of our MCs at one of the locations. He always makes it fun. So it's really a good time. It's similar to the idea of like a walkathon, only it's less exercise and more fun.
There's no hills.
No hills.
Well, one of the things, and I was saying before we went on the air today, that I've participated in Bowl for Kids' Sake before, back when I actually did bowl quite a bit. And you do not have to be a good bowler to participate in Bowl for Kids' Sake.
Oh, absolutely not.
In some ways, it's probably better if you're not a serious bowler. Brian is nodding yes, because I have a feeling he does not like the serious bowlers who get up there and want silence. Where would people get more information about the event and how they can get sponsor sheets and get a time set up?
Our website is a great source of information. It's www.bbbslancaster.org, or you can always call the agency, and our phone number is 717-397-7567, and we'll be happy to walk you through the process, answer any questions, give you the information that you need.
Recapping how people can also become a big brother or a big sister, and we've talked about the need for big brothers, that there's definitely a waiting list for men to be involved. Let's just talk for a moment or two about the female side, the big sister side. Obviously, there's not as dire a need for big sisters right now.
Yeah, we typically don't have as many little sisters on our waiting list, but there's definitely girls out there that, are waiting and could use the services. I think females find this an attractive, fun volunteer experience. So we really have never had to recruit for big sisters. Women just seem to come to us naturally, and we appreciate that. That's a lot less effort than getting the guys.
We're always looking for a partner to go have a mani-pedi with.
Absolutely.
Guys, this might be something you might want to try with your littles. Or maybe not. But I'm sure that there are still some girls out there, and there are some women. Now, one of the other things that I did notice in my reading, and we have not touched on, is the idea of a big couple.
Oh, yes.
So if there are women who want to be involved and to bring their husband along with them, there's also big couple. Can you touch on that for a moment or two?
That's a great option for couples that want to volunteer together. That way they're not taking time away from each other. Also, it's a great option for men that would like to volunteer, but they might not have a lot of experience with children, or they're just a little bit nervous about it. Having their, partner or wives by their side can be that extra boost of confidence that they need. And basically, it's the exact same as being a big brother or big sister. You just do it together with your significant other. It's also a great way for us to be able to match more boys.
Okay. And I would think it's also a nice way for some of the kids to see stable, loving relationships, which they might not have.
Absolutely. It's a great experience for them to see two adults in a healthy relationship, which they may not see at home, but it gives them an idea of, what it can be like when they grow up.
Oh, wow. How long have you been with Big Brothers Big Sisters now?
I've been with Big Brothers Big Sisters for 10 years.
So you've had a chance over that decade to see a lot of really wonderful stories. I asked both Ken and Brian, for them what the most satisfying part of being a big is. I'm going to pose the question to you as well. Over the last 10 years, what has been the most satisfying part of your involvement been?
Really, it's just seeing the kids come in, seeing where they're starting at, what their needs are, being able to match them successfully with someone, and just kind of sitting back and watching that relationship grow and blossom, and the changes that kind of come about naturally from the friendship. It's really not rocket science. Just the friendship alone provides what these kids need to grow and flourish and really live up to their potential. So it's been awesome. There's so many success stories that I could point to, and they're of varying degrees. One of the things that has been happening more and more recently is I'm seeing matches that have been together through the agency, and they're kind of coming back and reconnecting with us, and the little brother is now an adult, and they are still in touch with their big brother. The relationship has continued. They are still a part of each other's lives, and also some of these little brothers and little sisters are now volunteering to be bigs themselves, so that's cool.
That was going to be my next question, is if you see former littles coming back and wanting to be bigs and continuing the chain.
Yep, absolutely. It's been a bigger trend recently. They know what it's like. They know what a lot of the kids are experiencing. They have a really great idea of what to expect as a big, and they're able to really be there and support the little brother, and they want to pay it forward and give back.
Now, what would you call, let's say you have a little who now becomes a big. The initial big is what, a grand big, or I think there needs to be a name for this person.
I depending on the age, I think some bigs might take exception to that. But we don't really have a term for that. But yeah, it's kind of along those lines.
But that would be neat to see, if you will, 3 generations of big brothers, little brothers together. Do a lot of bigs and littles come out to Bowl for Kids' Sake?
Some do. There's a lot of businesses that put together teams. It's something fun for their employees to do. We definitely have some bigs and littles that have done it before. I believe Ken and his little brother have put together a bowling team. We have a big sister and little sister that have been there, for the past 5 years straight. And, they do the best that they can to help support the organization.
Oh, that's amazing. Just to recap, for people who might have jumped in during the program, if people want more information about either Bowl for Kids' Sake or about how they can get involved with being a big, especially men who have some time that they want to spend, guy time, where can they contact Big Brothers Big Sisters for information?
Our website again is BBBS Lancaster.org, or you could just Google Big Brothers Big Sisters of Lancaster County, or you can always call and speak to one of our staff members. They can answer your questions on the spot, and that number is 397-7567.
Well, I want to thank you, Cheryl, for coming in today to talk to us about Big Brothers Big Sisters. Ken, thank you so much. I wish you and your little many more years of fun together. Remind me, your little now is 15.
Yes.
So you still have about 3 more years left.
Yes. Yep.
Wow. and Brian, you and your little are just about to officially end.
Right.
Will you find a new one, or is it like a dog that you just can't replace a good dog?
Well, whether he likes it or not, he's stuck with me. I mean, we may be at the age in the agency's eyes, but he is my brother. And as far as going and getting another little, it's really going to be an evaluation with the home life and with work, and because I want to make sure I have that time in order to spend.
Well, folks, thank you all so very much for being with us. And listeners, thank you for joining us here today on By the Way on 101 The Rose, KZF 92.7, the classic rock station, and Fox Sports Radio 1490 WLPN.